honey. What's up? Is Spanny flying high? A little bit. A little bit I'm flying high. I wasn't flying high yesterday. Yesterday I was flying pretty low. Today I'm flying pretty high. Why? Why am I flying pretty high? Well, let's wait for a person or two to sign in here, and then I'll tell you why. Hey, JJ. JJ, you're like my afternoon, what I learned this week, Michael O'Connor. Welcome back, Michael. Long time no talk. JJ, you're like my, if I can count on only one person to sign in for my Friday afternoon, what I learned episodes, it's JJ Groob. So, I appreciate that, man, because I know I'm talking to at least 2 people. It says 4. I don't know if that's Swivey. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Never is accurate. Hey, Aggie, or is this Nick? Is this Nick or is this Aggie? Either way. Hello, Andrew Ritter. Anyhow, so I guess there's a few people at the party. Oh, I got like 4 or 5. Hey, JJ's sister. JJ, is that the sister that you said was... Just kidding. Just kidding, JJ's sister. He never... I didn't even know he had a sister. He didn't say anything bad about you. I didn't even know he had a sister. I was just talking. a little bit like that just to make a little joke there. Yeah, so I don't know why, JJ, you're always available now, but I sincerely appreciate it. Because the funny thing is, JJ, I don't do these at a consistent time other than sometimes Friday afternoon. But whether it's noon or whether it's 3:29, you're here, so I appreciate it. So Aggie, I don't know if it's you or Nick that's watching, but Nick supplied me with some more awesome potential podcast guests, so that's pretty cool. I have these handy. So these are some of the upcoming books I'm going to read. Fun read right here. Kevin Hart, going to see him in September. So I bought his book. It's a nice book, but I love. Hey Ralph, welcome, man. I like reading anything that's going to help me achieve my goals. Really is what kind of guides my philosophy. A lot of autobiographies and biographies. I enjoy reading comedians' books because comedians had to make it, right? They had to put in the time. They had to start small. They had to record in their studio, which is my unfinished basement. I can't flip the camera over there because it's just a dirty mess. So I'm going to appreciate reading his book. That's I'm going to say an easier, fun, can I say funner on the show read? And then this one, I'm extremely, bury my heart at Wounded Knee, I'm extremely excited to dive into this book. This is what you would call a not, I don't want to say easy, that's not the right word, but it's going to be a thinker. And I say that it's going to be a thinker because I know that I'm going to be obsessed with remembering everything. So I'm waiting for an appropriate time to dive into this one. And then, so I picked this one. I already read this, but I picked this one up to have it in hard copy. How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a classic that you talking to you should read. Now, why am I amped up? Because yesterday I wasn't so amped up. Yesterday I was not real amped. Spanny was a little sad yesterday. Just neither here nor there. Anyway, I just had 2, so this will be like my 3rd hour of recording today, which is not easy. It is kind of this just helps put me in the zone. These headphones just help make me feel like I'm, just put my helmet on or just wrap my hands, put my gloves on. But I just had 2 awesome stinking interviews. One of them is with Sean Stevenson. So there's a podcast called The Model Health Show. It's sleep, nutrition, and fitness. Fitness and nutrition. Talks about sleep, overall health, and wellness. It's freaking awesome. Swivey, yeah, like a bro. Thank you. We say funner and words like that, but we're pros. So that was incredible. Just a lot of training, info, tips, a lot of nutrition, a lot of sleep tips. And I had him on because I'm really tired a lot and I want to be more efficient with my energy. So that's why I had him on. And then, like, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorites. Just spoke to Laurie Berkner. I don't know if I shared this already. If I did, whatever, I'll share it again. So Laurie Berkner is a kids singer. Laurie. This is me. This is me. This is me and my energy. So if you ever hear me singing her songs, that's her. Anyway, I had her on the show, and it was awesome. It was awesome. If you have kids, little kids, my son is 1.5, my daughter's 4.5. Get her music. It's incredible. She's an incredible person. It was an awesome conversation. So anyhow, I just put out a tweet that says, great conversation is one of the best medicines you could ever take. That's it. That's it. Folks, I'm just trying to build a life where I read books and talk to awesome people. That's it. That's it. And train. Spend time with my family and friends. That's about it. That's all Spanny needs. That's all Spanny needs is just about that. So, hey, how about this? If you're a school or you're a business and you're looking for someone to ignite the crowd, I'm not going to tell jokes. I'm not going to tell learning, but I'll electrify the crowd with learning and with books and with fire. That's what I'm gonna do. That's maybe that'll be my pitch at the end of this episode. So if you're hanging around in 20 minutes or so, that'll be my close. Pros. We're pros. This is cute. You know, I love having kids. I love the process of having the day-to-day of having kids, I guess is a better way to put it. But it's funny how priorities change. All this stuff changes. But anyhow, so I got my wife this mug for Christmas. Can you see what it says? I love Mom. That's our little Frenchie. I hope I don't spill it. That's me. Oh, man, hold on. Fire! So that's me a few years ago. It's my beautiful wife. And, but anyway, I got her this mug. Because Josie girl was our baby. She was our baby. We still love her. But I ain't getting mugs made of her anymore. That $25 is going elsewhere. Okay. Hope that doesn't make me a bad dog father. Dog father? That sounded pretty good, right? Not a godfather, dog father. Okay, so anyhow, why are we here? Oh, we're here for what I learned this week. Probably my favorite episode of the week. Oh, man, I'm sweating. Can you see the sweat on my face? Oh, I'm sitting in a leather chair and it's hot. Oh, I'm all sticky. Because we're working towards our studio, folks. We're working towards it. We ain't got it yet, but we're working towards it. That's the thing about the summertime. During the summertime, I'm in the basement all day, or I got to go to a public setting because the fam, well, they're not upstairs right now. That's why I'm being extra loud. But I'm going to make a couple notes. Fire, passion, and fire. All right, so we're going to say the 4th. We're going to say Sean and Lori. We're going to say, what else? No, that's it. That's it. This is me. All right. I said this earlier, Swivey. I don't know if you were signed on. I don't know if there's anyone who's double dipping from watching AMX earlier this morning or not. But I started a new I love watching documentary series on both Prime and Netflix, as my daughter says. But there's one called The Horn. I don't know if it's called Cape Matterhorn or the Matterhorn or what it is. But anyway, it's a mountain in Switzerland. It's a really, really, really pretty interesting documentary. But it's about a rescue team. You know, a team who rescues people who ski or climb and have accidents on the Matterhorn in Switzerland. But it's a really good series, so I highly recommend you check that out. As well as if you haven't heard me talk about Made to be Broken, about Carl Metzler, who runs from top of the Appalachian Trail down to the bottom. It's another great one. So if you're looking for like fuel-inducing content, like content, then watch those things. So I'm gonna dive in to today's up. All right, 1, 2, 3. Hello all and welcome to this week's What I Learned This Week. I'm flying high. I was just on Facebook Live. Actually, this is a good time to hit pause on the intro and say, if you want to, pretty much everything but the interviews, I live stream at facebook.com/Charlie Spaniard. So if you want to, follow along with some of these, it's fun. We have a regular crowd, a regular crew that signs on to my AM Excellence every morning, as well as the Friday afternoon show. Shout out to JJ. JJ always seems to show up on Friday afternoon, as well as many other people. Swivey, thanks for being here. But if you'd like to tune into the video, it is fun. There's some banter going back and forth. But I'm flying high because I just had 2 awesome conversations. And I then immediately put out a tweet at Charlie Spaniard on Twitter that said, great conversations is some of the best medicine you could ever take. I am putting a stake in the ground saying my goal is to develop a lifestyle in which I read books and teach what I learn in them and have awesome conversations with awesome people. That's it, because it is so fuel-inducing, it is so inspiring, it's so motivating, it's so enriching. You know, one of those conversations today was with Sean Stevenson, the Motto Health Show, a ginormous podcast, over 2,000 reviews. I read his book, Sleep Smarter. He'll be coming up in a few weeks. It was just a great conversation, such a, I think an inspiration to me is where it's at, you know, wanting to go out and eat healthier, be healthier, giving practical steps to get all that stuff done. As well as Lori Berkner. If you have young kids, so I have a 1.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, Lori Berkner's music is the music. I told her on the show, people are going to think I'm paid to spread your music. I'm not. It is just that awesome. It's captivating. She is a captivating person. It was an awesome conversations. So those were 2 incredible episodes that will be coming out in a few weeks. If you're not already subscribed, you know how easy it is to subscribe? It's literally the click of a button. You just click subscribe. That helps spread the word, spread the show. Why would you want to? Well, if you like old Span and you want to help them out, that would be nice. But also, if you're gaining, if this show is helping you in one way or another, if you tune in every day to AMX or once in a while, or if you heard an interview, or if you enjoyed these What I Learned This Week episodes, or, and I'm glad I went on this little rant, because guess what came out on Tuesday? AMX Kids. So I love reading. I love books. I was just bragging to Facebook Live about the books I'm going to be reading in the near future. I started a series, AMX Kids, and the 2nd episode came out on Tuesday. That is a show devoted specifically to kids, middle-aged kids, give or take a couple years either way, where I read middle school-age books. I'm in the trenches, people. I'm reading the books. I'm taking notes. I'm making a lesson plan, and I'm extracting the learning principles, the life lessons, right? The takeaways from those books I'm highlighting. So if you have kids, if you are a kid, or if you're a kid at heart, if you want to relive Hatchet and some of these other awesome middle school books that, like me, I don't know if you appreciated them in middle school. Now, on the other side of middle school, I really appreciate them. But that's an awesome new series as well. So those are some fun things. And there's probably more fun things, but I'm going to hop into this week's What I Learned episode by starting out with the first bullet point. And a quick reminder, if you'd like to get this document emailed to you, it's like a handy dandy guide to fulfillment. Let's say that. It's a handy dandy guide to fulfillment, because I believe in the power of lifelong learning. I believe in its effectiveness in helping me be a better person in many areas, whether I'm talking as a husband, as a father, as a podcaster, as a communicator, as a leader, as a speaker, as a human being in terms of training and nutrition. I'm reading all these books and consuming and taking notes of the most impactful bits that I take from these books to then teach. So if you like this guide, visit charliespaniard.com and opt in. The first one, I finished off The Wisdom of Native Americans last week, and that was an eye-opening book, and a book that's serves as the foundation of setting me on a path of learning more about the Native Americans. I was just showing Facebook Live that Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee is a book that I have on my desk and I'm going to dive into here in the near future. But that was an awesome book. Transitioned into the next book, Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. Now, Rhinoceros Success, I only heard of that book by reading Bear Grylls' book, A Survival Guide for Life. He said Rhinoceros Success is one of my favorite books, and I got this from it, etc. So I thought, all right, I respect and admire Bear Grylls. I might as well buy this book and read it. Fun book, easy read. I spent 5 days reading it and talking about it. And you can get that book as well as every other book on charliespender.com/reading list. So the first bullet point is this, quote, success seems at times an imaginary creature impossible to capture. Guess what I'm here to tell you, folks? It ain't. It's not imaginary. It's not an imaginary creature. It's not impossible to capture. It's not for someone else. Guess who it's for? It's for you. And guess when you're going to have it? When you finally accept that. Every day, I fight with myself. Every day I fist fight myself. Every day I punch myself in the brain and say to myself, Spaniard, you are worthy, my friend. Shut your negativity mouth. Shut your mouth. Is that from Superbad where he said, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. That's what I say to myself. So I'm talking to me right now as much as I'm talking to you. Success seems at times an imaginary creature impossible to capture. It ain't. It's not. It's for you. Break it down. That's the most important part. So at the beginning of this year, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to go all in here, and I'm going to be full exposure. At the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to make $100,000. That was my goal, $100,000. And it's July 6th, and I started sweating last night thinking, I ain't on that path at all. And I need to get on that path. So what am I going to do to get on that path? And I started to sweat, and I started to get nervous, and it's hot, and it's July, and I don't have central air in my house. So I started thinking to myself, oh, this ain't good, Span, this ain't good. And then I thought, you know what? Break it down. What do we need to do? So that's what you need to do, is you need to break that far off goal down. Understand that it's not impossible. It's not an imaginary creature. It's real. Someone's going to make that money. Why not I? Someone's going to do that thing. Why not you? The second bullet point from Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander is this. How many times have you heard me say surround yourself with the best? How many times have I said how important it was for me to be around Frankie Edgar on a regular basis, be at AMA Fight Club in New Jersey and travel into New York City, to be at Renzo Gracie's and travel down south, to be at Almeida's and around all these world classes, to travel to Philadelphia and train with Eddie Alvarez, and to fly out west and go to Dan Henderson's and fly to the Midwest and be around Matt Hughes, be around all these influences. Just being around them is empowering. Being around them is enriching. Being around them puts you on the right trajectory, right? It's like osmosis or something like it, right? You just soak it in by being around those people. This bullet point says, do not ignore the negative, but don't saturate yourself with it. One of my favorite things, not one of my favorite things, but something I reflect on when I was fighting. I was very real about what's what. When I got the call, I just had someone tag me in a tweet today saying I should rematch Anthony Johnson at 205 pounds. I don't know where that came from, but the person tagged me in it. And I, laughed in the fact that I weighed 175 this morning. Yeah, I'm a little bit underweight for that. But it was like, you don't want to go into a fight, when you're fighting Rumble or anyone else that's on top of the world. You don't want to go in there pretending that they're not tough, pretending that they don't have weapons that you need to defend, and pretending that it's a walk in the park. That's not real, right? Some people might say, well, that's negative. You got to think positive. But I just look at that as kind of being real, right? Being real with myself, being real with the situation. Falls in line with this idea of do not ignore the negative, but don't saturate yourself with it. Be aware of the negative, right? The negative in your life. Take an audit. Take an audit of the negativity in your life. Where does it come from? Is it self-inflicted negativity? Is it friends? Is it coworkers? Is it people out in the community? Is it family? Where is that negativity come from? Is it watching the news 24/7? I substituted news with moose. That's interesting. Interesting word choice. Where is that negativity coming from? And then once you identify it, systematically reduce it. If it's coming from yourself, you've got some work to do on yourself, and you can start by reading books. And you can go to my website and get a whole slew of books that will help you combat that negativity. And understand that everyone, I wrote this quote down on my desk, and I have it right here, that I got this from Jack Canfield of the Success Principles, that we have 50,000 conversations with ourselves every day, and 40,000 of them are negative. So you're not a minority. You're not 1 in a million. You're like a million in 2 million. Like you're a million in 1,050,000. I don't know. There's a lot of people. So Don't ignore the negative, but don't saturate yourself with it. Take an inventory of the negativity and get it out of your life. Are you looking for it? Ask yourself that. Am I looking for negativity? Because the law of attraction says that what you think about, you'll bring about. And if you're looking for it, doggone it, you're going to find it. The next bullet point is one of my favorite bullet points because it is part of one of my favorite new projects that I have going on, and that is AMX Kids. So AMX stands for AM Excellence. I'm wearing the shirt right now. AM Excellence is a part of this podcast that I produce Monday through Friday. I also live stream at facebook.com/Charlie Spaniard. And AM Excellence stands for this idea of, okay, hey, I'm the Spaniard. I get up every morning and I read. So why don't I create a show based off what I read, and everyone can listen to it in the morning, and then it'll help them have an excellent morning. That was the impetus behind the name AM Excellence. But what it's turned into is kind of a verb that means to read something or to consume something and extrapolate the learning points from it and talk about them. That's what AMX means. So I could AMX a book, I could AMX a documentary, I could AMX whatever. So I took that idea to form a show called AMX Kids. AMX is for grown-ups, you and I, mostly you and I. You just imagine there's some kids listening right now. But AMX Kids is specifically for kids, as I mentioned on the intro to the show. So I'm reading the book Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Episode number 2 came out on Tuesday. So I encourage you, please pass this on to the young people in your life. Please do it. It's teaching life lessons. It's more than a passion project. I'd love for this to explode into something big. But I'm reading the book Hatchet, and the quote that I extracted for this episode was, Brian is the main character, found it was a long way from sparks to fire. So Brian's out in the wilderness. He's alone. He's got a hatchet. He's getting eaten up by bugs. It's just not a good situation. He needed to start a fire, and he learned through the process of, rekindling, no pun intended, how to create a fire. He said he learned that it was a long way from sparks to fire. So delayed gratification, that's why I chose to include that quote. In this episode, AMX Kids 2, we're talking about delayed gratification. We're talking about selflessness. We're talking about simplicity. All of that is within this book. Understanding that sparks to fire, from point A to point B, from download 1 to download 1 million, it's going to take a long time. And actually, as I speak right now, I got to check the metrics. I think we might be at 300,000. So we're like 1/3-ish of the way there. Anyhow, know that it is a long way from sparks to fire. Keep your nose to the grindstone, or keep your knife or piece of metal to the spark stone. Does that make any sense? All right. Either way, it's a long way from sparks to fire. Moving on, going back to Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. This was a fun quote, and this chapter was full of one-liners like this, so it was hard for me to decipher and decide which one to extract and include in this week's What I Learned document. But it says, quote, "You are the president of You, Inc." I'm going to say it again. You are the president of You, Inc. Now I'm going to say this. Hey, Spanny, what? I am the president of I, Inc. Say that out loud to yourself. Understand, you are the president of You, Inc. This book is about going after Rhinoceros Success. It's about going after your goals, going after your aspirations, putting your nose to the grindstone and getting things done. And it talks about this idea of selling yourself, treating yourself as a business, you being the president of You, Inc. So my question to you is, what kind of business are you running? Ask yourself, what kind of business am I running? How do people look at my business? I was just in Stone Harbor last week or a week and a half ago, whatever it was. Stone Harbor is pristine. Another place in the world that I've been to that reminds me of Stone Harbor, obviously this place is probably more beautiful, but Bermuda. Bermuda is pristine. Stone Harbor is pretty dang pristine. It's very clean. It's very nice. Very friendly. It's very beautiful. And I was thinking of like, what do I feel about Stone Harbor? What do people feel about you? What do people feel about, quote, your business? What kind of business are you running? In this chapter also, it talks about your body, right? Taking care of yourself, consuming the right food, consuming the right amount of exercise, treating yourself, carrying yourself well, getting enough rest. All of this stuff is part of your business. So I'm going to ask you again, what kind of business are you running? Are you like a Fortune 500? Are you a Fortune 1 million? What kind of business are you running? How can you make your business more efficient? Maybe you need a consultant to bring into your business to make it more efficient. Well, how the heck am I going to hire a consultant? Guess what? You don't need to. It's called podcasts. It's called Listen to Podcasts. The Model Health Show, I just told you, is a great reference. His book, Sleep Smarter, Sean Stevenson's book, Sleep Smarter, I stinking talk about on it, and Aubrey Marcus's book, Own the Day, Own Your Life, all the time. There's so many podcasts. Joe Rogan's podcast is like a PhD in every stinking discipline that you can imagine. It's out there. It's free. These books cost $10. I mean, I buy a lot of books, and I might spend $40 a month on books. Like, it's not like it's a whole bunch of money. You can cut out a few sodas and fast foods and get yourself some books. That's how you can bring in a consultant for your business. The next one is a mindset, a little mindset switch. And so how I operate, a lot of times I'll simply hear someone say something different, and then it flips a switch in my head. So a lot of times it's not even like a tip. It's just a mindset principle or fact. Like with Aubrey Marcus's book, Own the Day, Own Your Life, several things I do in my life are now different because of that book. One of them is rinsing in the shower in ice cold water. And I think of him saying, reach for the knob, turn it. So that's what I do. I reach for the knob and turn it. I don't think about it. I don't extrapolate. It's my inner voice, as Rogan calls it, his inner, I want to be PG, biatch, right? Conquering that inner biatch. That's what he does. That's what I'm telling myself. So I lost my train of thought right there, but I'm gonna continue with this bullet point. Oh, it's a mindset, just a simple mindset switch practice. This is a simple mindset practice that, boom. Once I thought this, I thought, okay. That's a great idea. That's a great way to put it. So in the book, they were talking about indecision. And Bear Grylls talks about indecision too, and saying that indecision is worse than decision, right? And than any decision. Just make a decision and go with it. Don't sit, don't teeter, don't pander, just go for it. So from Rhinoceros Success, it says, quote, you have to be firmly convinced that everything always works out for the best. You have to be firmly convinced that everything always works out for the best. So how does that help? How does that help alleviate indecision? I just got a message on Facebook Live saying that's what editing is for. There ain't no editing in this one, buddy. It's staying in there. You have to be firmly convinced that everything always works out for the best. How does that help indecision? Because of this. Yesterday, I was like, it was about what I was going to eat for lunch. I thought, do I want to dive into something junky, or do I want to save that for later in the day or the week? Or I don't know what it was. But then I thought, oh, it's going to work out for the best. It really doesn't matter. And then I just picked one. And then you go with it. So that simple mindset switch, you have to be firmly convinced that everything always works out for the best, can help you make better decisions because you'll know, oh, either way I go, it's going to work out. So those little mindset switches and flips absolutely have done wonders for me. Moving on to the second to last bullet point. This is from Matt the Immortal Brown. So if I say Matt Brown and you're a UFC fan or UFC connoisseur, first word I think of is tough, right? When I think Matt Brown, I just think straight tough. He's one of the toughest guys in the UFC. Just a fighter who loves to fight, and for that reason, I wanted to talk with him. We had been in the UFC at the same time. We were in the same weight class for much of my career, and but we'd never talked extensively. And I wanted to have a conversation with him. I was so impressed with like his studiousness. So this, my thing is becoming the world's toughest lifelong learner and developing tough lifelong learners. I didn't know how well Matt Brown fit that idea, fit that definition, how studious he is, and how he reads so much, and he studies, and he learns, and he consumes. It was a really enlightening, eye-opening, informational episode with him in conversation, but that came out on Thursday. That's episode number 185 on the podcast feed. But he had a quote from our conversation that said this, quote, when I decided I'm going to change my life, then I said, I'm going to pursue this martial arts, this fighting thing with every ounce of my soul. I pursued every aspect of it. That included going to the gym and learning the techniques, and that included reading every single book that I could. There you have it, folks. You want to get good at something, you want to get great at something, you want to be a mainstay in a world-class organization, or you want to be the best of the best? That's what you got to do. Learning the techniques, going to the gym, and that included reading every single book that I could. Again, read these books, learn, listen, consume from podcasts, consume from books, whatever you can. Buy into this idea of learning, getting you what you want. And the last bullet point is this. Indecision can be cured with a simple mindset shift. Wait a minute. If this were a pop quiz, would you get that answer right? What is the simple mindset shift? What is the simple mindset shift that can cure indecision? Brrrrum, ping. You have to firmly be convinced that everything always works out for the best. There you have it, my friend. This has been what I learned this week. I sincerely appreciate you tuning in. And I was telling the Facebook Livers that if you're a school or if you're an organization and you're looking for someone to light up the crowd, I'm not going to tell jokes. I'm not going to play music. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach and I'm going to share what I learned and I'm going to inspire your crowd. I'm going to inspire your crew to become tough, lifelong learners, and they will increase productivity. They will increase their communication abilities and techniques, and they will become the best leaders that you could have ever imagined. Please visit charliespanier.com/booking to fill out the form, and we'll be in touch. Be bold, my friends. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what, folks. I'm either gonna make it or I'm gonna crash and burn. That was really fun. And I hope Yuns enjoyed it. I hope Yuns enjoyed it. Oh, so that was fun. I appreciate you all sticking with me. For those of you who are still tuned in, thank you, Swivey, for your continued support, my friend. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you subscribe on iTunes and/or whatever podcast app you're using. Consider sharing this video, feedback, comments, etc., etc. Spanny appreciates it. AMX, baby, that's where we're at. AMX, that's where we're at. Interviews, conversations, we're bringing it. So, have yourselves a nice little weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. See ya.